When you hear the word fear, do you think F everything and run, or face everything and rise? Which one are you?
I think that people should be able to achieve what they want and happiness without compromising who they are.
What does courage look like? Is having that fear and you still take the action anyway. Hi, I'm Alison Robertson. I'm a solution-focused life coach, a television actress, and the author of the book ENOUGHNESS, The Simple Truth to Embracing You, which Forbes tapped as the top 7 books to help you help yourself. You're on my channel, which is all about the creative brain and how to have confidence throughout your life. Now, if you like my content, which comes out every Wednesday, hit that subscribe button and hit that like button so you don't miss any of my videos. And if you think you'd like to work with me, click the link in my bio and see if you would like a discovery call. I love working with creatives and entrepreneurs. Overcoming fear. You heard me say in the beginning of this video, the acronym for fear. F everything and run, or face everything and rise. Which one are you when you're talking about overcoming fear? It can be super intimidating. Fear makes everybody afraid. But fear is just shifting your mindset. And if you could just shift the idea of what fear is to you, it can change a lot in your life. But we need to start off with, first of all, what is the definition of fear? Well, according to Webster's, it's an unpleasant emotion caused by something or someone, or a belief that someone or someone is going to cause you danger. Now, I love the word belief because it didn't say fact, it didn't say feeling, it said belief. And I always like to say that what makes a belief true? That you believe it. So fear is something that we have to believe in. That's what makes it true in our minds. So we're really in control of what we fear. Now, it's really important for me to point out too that I'm not talking about that instinct when you're walking into a dark parking lot and you get a really creepy feeling that something's wrong and it's giving you something fear. I'm not talking about ignoring that. That's your guttural instinct of keeping yourself safe, where you have a fear-based thing of telling you you're in danger. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about that fear of you taking an action because you're afraid of being rejected, or your fear that if I speak up, people will make fun of me, or I'm in fear of showing my artistic creativity and people will think it's terrible, or I'm in fear of being who I really want to be because people won't love me. That's the fear I'm talking about. How do we override that kind of fear? That belief that you're not good enough. What if I told you you could stand flat-footed in who you truly are? That fear is still going to be there. But if you had a stronger belief in yourself, flat-footed in your enoughness of who you are, that fear is there a little bit because you're exposed. You're vulnerable. But what if I could give you some tools, some tips, some suggestions on how to calm that fear down and to face everything and rise instead of F everything and run? Would that sound like a good idea? Here's something fear does do to us when we're in fear about going for that job, going for that audition, being vulnerable, right? Fear is the fuel to the rocket ship, for me, between two things in our world, right? It's the rocket ship between grandiosity and low self-esteem. Now, those creatives out there, you know what I'm talking about. We either think we're the greatest things ever or we're absolute crap. And that rocket ship goes very fast between the two. I'm great, I'm nothing. And fear is the fuel. So what if I could take some of that away, right? What if I could make you remember who you are? And we live somewhere right around here in just gratitude, fullness, enoughness. And you could be in your power. Look, fear is always around, right? Because it's what we sometimes believe. And when we take action against fear, it's being courageous. And courageous, we see in storybooks, it looks like this. I'm courageous, I'm battling. Well, that's not courage. Courage is sometimes us broken and on the floors, but still taking an action. Courage and bravery is feeling the fear and still taking the action. Remember that. Here are 4 things to keep in mind when you're rewriting that idea of fear, right? So that your reptilian brain doesn't take over, right? It takes over and starts to say, this is what you have to do. Like, we grasp. You can see me even clenching my hands. What do I do with fear? Because what I believe is true. Is it? The first thing I want you to do is think, is it a fact versus a feeling? What is real? What is real to you, right? Fact versus a feeling. So we have to recognize and name the fear. Did I make it up? Is it a reality? Is it a fact? Is it a feeling? A lot of times our fear is a feeling, right? And that's a little bit easier to let go. Not to overcome, but to let go in the moment. The second thing is we need to accept that our fear is a facade, right? I just said it's not necessarily real. It's real to us, but it's just an obstacle. It's just a mindset, a shift that we have to do. And our third thing is don't forget your strengths. We have so many strengths in us that we forget because fear overrides it. So this is what I want you to do. I want you to write down everything you're great at, all the strengths you have. You're great at talking to people. You're great at the computer. You're great at singing. You're great at acting. You're great at dancing. You're great at directing. You're great at managing people. You're a great mom. You're a great dad. You're great at paying the bills. You're great at generating. You have a great sense of heart. I don't care what your strengths are. Write them down. And if you can't remember them in the moment, write it in your phone so you can pull it up at any second. Because when fear takes over, we kind of lose our minds, right? All that cortisol and then dopamine, or I don't even know what hormones. That's not my area. But something takes over in our brains and floods it so that we can't remember how great we are. I want you to pull that list up and look and remember all your strengths in that moment so that you can start to dissipate that fear. And the final thing is I want you to rewrite your fears. Rewrite them. What are you really afraid of? Does it have that power? For many, many years, I was afraid of flying. And then I had children. And I couldn't be as fearful of flying as I was when I was just me. Because if not, I was going to give them my fears. I'm still afraid of heights, no doubt. But I learned to rewrite that fear by seeing rationally what was going on and what was I afraid of, and rewrote it a little. So it's not an instantaneous thing, but can you rewrite that for you? Can you reframe it? Can you recreate for yourself how that fear is holding you and what it is doing to you and how you're able to move forward? Listen, fear is an obstacle that makes you a prisoner to yourself. But if you just remember, face everything and rise, as opposed to F everything and run. Running has gotten you this far. Pretty good. But what if you face it and you rise? What could you accomplish? I think a lot. Thank you for bravely watching this video. And if you like what you saw, please hit the like button and the subscribe button. If you have anything that you'd like me to discuss, hit the link in my bio. Tell me what you'd like to hear. And if you think you'd like to work with me, set up a discovery call. I'd love to hear what you want to work on, see what you want to achieve. And most of all, I'd like to hear what your dreams are. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next week.